In lesson number 28 of 5-Minute Theory, we're going to learn about first and second endings, and then we're going to also learn another type of repeat sign called the da capo al fine. Let's start off by writing our name at the top of the page. We're going to do this one pretty quick because it's not very hard. So, first and second endings. If you've been playing a while, you may have already covered this, but we're just going to cover it again. Repetition is good. It's not only repetition, it's called reinforcement of things that you've already learned. So let me just read this paragraph. When a composer wants a different ending to be played on a repeated music phrase, he or she may use a repeat with first and second endings. In this example, notice that measures 3 and 4 are underneath the first ending bracket. So you'll see that bracket with a 1 above it, that's the first ending. Measure 5 and 6 are underneath the second ending bracket. So basically, as you clap and count this line, you're going to count and clap 1, 2, 1 and 2 and. We're going to keep going on measure 3, 1, 2 and 1, 2. I get to my repeat sign and go back to the beginning. I play the first 2 measures again, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and. The second time through, I skip that first ending, and I go to my second ending, 1 and 2, rest 2. So just like repeat signs, this is a musical device that composers can use to save room and time writing something that's almost going to be exactly the same, which would be a repeat sign, but maybe I just want to change the last couple of measures or the last phrase of a piece of music so I can write a first and second ending. Okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense here because it's only 6 bars long. I can save a little bit of space, but it makes a lot of sense when you're playing a piece of music and you play from the beginning and you get down through half of a page or a whole page and it says repeat it. You have to, instead of writing a whole nother page, you can just go back to the beginning and then the second time take a different ending. All right, so now what we're going to do in number 1 here is we're going to write out this line as it would appear without the first and second ending. If I start here at the beginning, my first note is C. I don't have a C, so I'm going to write that note. Then I'm going to play my first measure, F, E, G, which is already written out for you. Then I'm going to play my next measure, B flat. I write my B flat because there is no key signature. C, B flat again. Now what I do is I keep going, right? I'm not going to repeat yet. I play my first ending, A, G, try to write legibly, F, E. My next measure is a G dotted half note, and then a low C. So now in this example up here, I would repeat all the way back to the beginning. So notice I go to the repeat sign, not to the very beginning. I have a C, and now here's my first 2 measures, which are these 2 measures. I already wrote that out for you. So what do you write in the last 2 measures? Okay, on my second time through, I skip the first ending and play my second ending. So A, G, G, F. Now I have a dotted half note because, remember, that 4th count is borrowed from the beginning. So if I had another repeat sign, I would repeat back to that C. Okay, so that's just a way of writing out what a piece of music would sound like if you did not have first and second endings. It's just a reinforcement of a very easy thing to remember of how to skip a first ending when you go to the second time through. All right, let's move on to the second half. In this one, it's called a da capo repeat. So when a composer wants a performer to repeat back to the beginning of a song, he or she might use a da capo. Da capo means the top, the cap, da capo, means to go back to the beginning. Then a lot of times you'll see a da capo repeat end with what they call an all fine, which means the end. Okay, fine, not fine. It means the end or the finish. All right, if you put those terms together, da capo all fine, usually abbreviated DC all fine, means to go back to the beginning and play to the finish, indicated by the fine sign. Fine, not fine. All right, so on the blank staff below, I'm going to rewrite the first line as it would be played without a da capo all fine. Okay, so as I'm playing this, I'm going to go here, I'm going to play from the beginning. When I get to the fine the first time, I keep going, but then when I get to the DC all fine, I go back to the beginning, play it again, and then the second time through, I stop on the fine. Okay, so let's rewrite this. I have made a lot of very intentional mistakes as I've gone through this. So we're going to fix all of the mistakes. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw my treble clef. Something's wrong with that treble clef, but let's just draw a good treble clef. Okay, can you figure out what's wrong with this treble clef? Up here, it only goes to the bottom of the second line, not to the bottom. All right, and then my key signature, I've got a B flat. If I have two flats, I know that the next one is E flat. So I kind of got that a little in between the line there. So I fixed that. Then I have a time signature of 2, missing the bottom number, 4. So there's my third mistake. I have 3 mistakes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and draw my forte here. Don't forget that. And then I've got a B flat. Did you figure out already what's wrong with the B flat? The stem should go down, not up. I have a C and a D. Okay. I don't want to forget my slur that I have in there. The E and the B, I already have that, right? My next measure, D, E, D, C. I don't see anything wrong with that measure. So I'm just going to draw it again here. Don't forget your slur marking. Now this measure here, what is wrong with that? Okay, it's 3 counts, but I'm in 2/4, so that should be a B half note. Okay, so only a B half note, and then I do my diminuendo or decrescendo down to pianissimo. All right, now I'm in my next measure. So the first thing I do is 2 quarter notes on B. Now I made a mistake here. What's my mistake in this measure here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I needed a bar line, didn't I? So I'm going to do 3 and 4. So that's just an 8th note. So I'm actually missing something, aren't I? So in this measure, that 8th note should be a quarter note. So 1 and 2. All right. Next measure, I keep going. B, A, I already got that. In my next measure, a C connected to, tied to another half note. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 counts. So this should not be a half note. It should be another quarter note. So C tied to a C, not a slur, but a tie. And then I missed my bar line, but I got my bar line, so that's good. Now I'm going to go to the beginning, da capo, the top. So now I'll do my first measure again. Oh, but wait, there's more. Don't forget this thing. In this measure, I need my crescendo back to forte. Here's my B flat, C, D, with my slur. The E and the B you already have. That just keeps you in check to make sure you're in the right place. E, D, C, D, C. boom, 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 boom. I could just connect all of those notes together. And then my last note is only a half note, but I have a diminuendo down to PP. All right, so that's what the two lines would look like if I rewrote this here and fixed all of the mistakes, okay? That's pretty tricky because you have a lot of different things that you have to know, all right? First of all, you have to be able to rewrite something just with the da capo all fine repeat, just so you know how you're gonna play the piece of music. But then finding all the mistakes is a little tricky. You have to know how it's supposed to be correctly. If you don't get it, if you don't understand how it's supposed to be, then you can't find a mistake. Tricky, tricky. All right, so lots of fun on that one. If you got that, double check. Make sure all your dynamics are in there. Make sure all of your slur markings are in there. Make sure you have fixed all of the mistakes, and then you're ready to move on.